Welcome back to day number 239. My name is Mary, and today's story is The Apostles Are Called. Jesus heard what these men had said, and he said, "Those that are well do not need a doctor to cure them, but those that are sick do need one. I go to these people because they know that they are sinners and need to be saved. I come not to call those who think themselves to be good, but those who wish to be made better." One evening, Jesus went alone to a mountain not far from Capernaum. A crowd of people and his disciples followed him, but Jesus left them all and went up to the top of the mountain, where he could be alone. He stayed there all night, praying to God. In the morning, out of all his followers, he chose 12 men to walk with him, listen to his words, and learn to teach others in turn. Some of these men he had called before, but now he called them again, along with some others. They were called the 12, or the disciples. After Jesus went to heaven, they were called the apostles, a word that means those who were sent out, because Jesus sent them out to preach the gospel to the world. The names of the 12 disciples were Simon Peter and his brother Andrew, James and John, the two sons of Zebedee, Philip of Bethsaida, and Nathanael, who was also called Bartholomew, Thomas, who was also called Didymus, and Matthew, the publican, another James, who was called James the Less, to keep his name apart from the first James, the brother of John, and Lebbaeus, who was also called Thaddeus. Lebbaeus was called also Judas, but he was a different man from another Judas, whose name is always given last. The 11th man was another Simon, who was called the Cananian, or Simon Zelotes. And the last name was Judas Iscariot, who was the traitor. We know very little about most of these men, but some of them later did great works. Simon Peter was a leader among them, and John was, when he was a very old man, wrote one of the most wonderful books in all the world, the Gospel according to John, the fourth of the Gospels. In the sight of all the people who had come to hear Jesus, Jesus called these 12 men to stand by his side. Then he preached to these disciples and the great company of people. Jesus sat down. The disciples stood beside him, and the great crowd of people stood in front. While Jesus spoke, what he said on that day is called the Sermon on the Mount. Matthew wrote it down, and you can read it in his Gospel in the 5th, 6th, and 7th chapters. Now I will share with you a picture that says Jesus taught from up on the mountain. And here it is. And that was the word of the Lord. Now we come to our discussion questions. Number 1, who did Jesus go to and why? Number 1, who did Jesus go to? Why? Number 2, why did Jesus want to be alone? First part. Second part, what did he do? Question number 2, why did Jesus want to be alone? First part. Second, what did he do? Number 3 and last, and it has 2 parts to it. Name as many of the 12 disciples as you can remember. Then check back in the book if you can't remember them. Who were all 12s? Number 3 and last, once again, name all as many of the 12 disciples as you can remember. Then check back in the book if you can't remember them. Who were all 12s? So, and by this question, we come again to our end of the story number 239. Thank you again for attending, listening, viewing, and discussing later on. May God bless us all. Till next time. Bye-bye for now.